Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving my match predictions for week 15 Premier League fixtures, and the Christmas period is upon us. We're going to be having games every 3 or 4 games or so let's just hope for week 15 fixtures to be marvellous. And what a setup of games we're going to have. We have Everton, who have been in dire form this season since they've been having so many injuries so recently, and then we have Arsenal, who have been in good form despite the loss to Liverpool. We also got Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. We got a great London derby, probably the best of the weekend, obviously West Ham versus Chelsea. Both teams in the top 4 currently as we stand. So let's just hope for another amazing week of fixtures and probably even more going on into the rest of the season. Before going into the video, like I always say, make sure you guys like, comment, and hit that big subscribe button right there. And make sure you guys in the comment section give me your own predictions. Who's going to win in week 15 Premier League fixtures? Do you think West Ham can pull off an upset? Do you think Newcastle can pick their first win up against Burnley? What's going to happen? Let me know in the comment section. So the first game I'm going to be talking about is obvious. It's the London derby, probably the best game we're going to have all weekend. We got West Ham, who are sitting 4th or 5th right now on the table. We'll see what happens obviously in the next game. And we got Chelsea, who are currently top of the Premier League. Let's see if they can win their next game against Watford. But honestly, this is set to be the best game in terms of the weekend. A London derby. Both teams have been in great form. So let's see who's actually going to win. And going into this game, the game plan is clear for West Ham and Chelsea. I feel like it's self-explanatory how both teams are going to set up. West Ham are going to play compact, rigid, a defensive style football, try to stay resolute, try and make themselves tough to beat, because Chelsea obviously have not been scoring a lot of goals of recently ever since Lukaku and Werner have got injured. Yes, they've had their glimpses and hopes, especially in the Champions League against Malmo, but in recent form against Burnley and also Manchester United, it just shows that obviously sometimes you need that clinical number 9, Romelu Lukaku, who's coming off of injury, to actually tuck those goals into the back of the net. Chelsea have not had that, and let's see if Lukaku's going to start, especially since he was on the bench against Manchester United. But like I said, going into this game, I feel like Chelsea match up excellently against West Ham. I feel like it's going to be similar like against Brentford, like I spoke about a few weeks ago, where Chelsea were able to beat Brentford 1-0. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a physical battle. It's going to be about your strength, your power. But I feel like Chelsea can match up against this. I don't know if that's West Ham's specialty, but Chelsea have the players to literally battle and probably win this battle, especially since they have the quality to go on top of it. West Ham's main strengths in terms of this game is going to be set pieces, because we know David Moyes loves to work on this in training. We've seen them dominate teams like Liverpool from set pieces, having so much joy even against Tottenham. So I don't think this is going to change, and I don't think it's going to be any different. But the thing is with Chelsea, they have the stature, they have the height, they have the power in their players to deal with this. They have 3 centre-backs who are obviously large. They got Loftus-Cheek, Romelu Lukaku coming back off injury, who are all 2 powerful players who can deal with set pieces. So I feel like Chelsea are capable already of neutralising one of West Ham's main game plans when it comes to winning games. The other talking about, we know West Ham love playing with Antonio, the way he shields and holds up the ball to allow other players to get into the mix like Ben Rama, Bowen, even Rice and Soucek running into the midfield. But I feel like it's going to be tough for Antonio, especially since he's going to have 3 centre-backs obviously always up in and around him trying to win the ball off him. He's not going to get the time and space as a typical player who usually plays up against a back 4. He's going to have 3 centre-backs, and I don't feel like he's going to be able to dominate all 3 centre-backs at one time. It's going to be extremely tough. And West Ham have so much joy on the counter-attack like we saw against Liverpool, literally scoring goals from the counter-attack, either that or a set piece. It's not going to be like that against Chelsea, because we know defensively take pride in the defensive performance, especially since they've only conceded 1 or 2 goals in the Premier League all season from open play. So it's going to be very tough for West Ham to score from set pieces and even in the open play from counter-attacks. So because of all these reasons, I'm definitely going for a Chelsea win. It's going to be tough, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a London derby, and I feel like the fans are going to be up for it. But Chelsea have too much quality, and they're having pivotal players coming back from injury who are probably most likely going to be able to make their stamp on this game and actually play against the West Ham side, who have been in teetering form of recent so far. So going into this game, I'm going to be predicting a 2-0 hard-fought away victory for Chelsea. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Newcastle versus Burnley. And in terms of the relegation fight, this is probably going to be the most important battle, important match of the weekend and probably of the season in terms of Newcastle and Burnley. We have Newcastle, 7 draws, 7 losses, still yet to win their first game this season despite having Eddie Howe come into the mix, despite having new owners come into the team as well. They still aren't able to buy a win, literally because the January transfer window hasn't been opened. And then we have Burnley right there, 19th in the table, Complete opposite of Newcastle, have no money, lack of resources, hoping that Sean Dyche pulls off another miracle like he always does and provides them the Premier League protection and actually stay up in the Premier League this season. And this game is incredibly important for Newcastle, who are going to face the gauntlet of death in the next 7 or 8 games or so, especially because they're versing the top 6 or 7 sides in the country. So they need to start picking up points, especially since they've been dropping points against Norwich, Brentford as well at home, games they should be winning and picking points from. So going into this game, I feel like it's going to be a dull, mundane game, but it doesn't matter about the performance. It just matters about the result and which team wins, because you need the points to stay up in this relegation fight. So going into this game, I know Eddie Howe has improved this Newcastle side. They look much more defensively solid and sound, especially since their first game against Brentford conceded 3 goals, only 2 against Arsenal and that 1 goal against Norwich. However, it feels like they have a plan, they have a system to be compact, which is quite surprising because I felt like Eddie Howe wanted to play more attacking football, but maybe because it's Arsenal and you show them the respect they deserve, Eddie Howe's going to make it much more open against a Burnley side who are just going to sit back. I still think Newcastle are going to struggle to create chances. We saw it against Arsenal. If it's not St. Maximum, they're not going to create chances. They're not going to create any opportunities. He's their 1-star leading light. He has to dribble around 2 or 3 players to create space or room for someone like Wilson to get a chance on goal. If he doesn't make the space, if he doesn't create the chances, Newcastle have no chance. But going into this game against Burnley, I think Newcastle do have the potential to score. But in terms of Burnley, I feel like they'll be able to nick a point. We know Sean Dyche works tirelessly, just like David Moyes, on set pieces. And I feel like Newcastle still defensively, despite Eddie Howe getting them better in the defensive shape, they still struggle and still make crucial mistakes when it really matters. I think they're going to concede from a set piece, a lazy goal or something, because although you can make a better structured defence, Leopards don't change their spots, and I still think Newcastle will not change their spots and they will concede goals when it really matters, like I said. So going into this game is going to be a boring, mundane game, but they're still going to draw this game, so that's why I'm going for a 1-1 draw. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Manchester United versus Crystal Palace, and it's going to be interesting to see if Ralph Rangnick actually takes charge of this game. Obviously, his work visa or work permit, whatever, he's still trying to resolve this, and we'll see if Michael Carrick takes in charge of this game. But let me just shout out Michael Carrick for his brief reign as the head coach of Manchester United, obviously. Cementing Champions League football for the last round of 16, getting an important, crucial draw away from home against Chelsea, the European champions. It's not bad. Obviously, the performances are still not there, but he can hold his head a little bit proud, especially getting points when they really needed them. Obviously, Michael Carrick is still part of the old regime under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which showed pathetic performances in this season. But forget about that, that's old news. It'll be interesting to see if Ralph Rangnick actually takes charge of this game. Is he going to be the new manager going into this game against Crystal Palace, who have been in teetering form, not great, have tailed off ever since the beginning of the season? Obviously, not performing well, losing against Leeds away from home. Points you're supposed to be picking up, especially if you don't want to be flirting around the relegation zone. But it'll be interesting to see if Ralph Rangnick's going to literally play the gegenpress, the godfather of football. Let's see what all this hype's going to be about. Is he going to play a 4-2-2-2 like he did at Red Bull Leipzig? Is he going to do that and literally push the fullbacks forward, knowing that Wan-Bissaka obviously isn't the best going forward and his delivery is quite poor? Or is he going to let the players be familiarised and stay with a system or formation at least they know, with a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1? Is it too quick? Is it too fast to actually adjust to a new whole system which they have no, obviously, practice using it at all? Or is he going to stick with the same old which they know? But obviously, the main talking point is if Ronaldo's going to start this game against Crystal Palace, because obviously he should be starting against Arsenal and we'll see how he plays. But if Ralph Rangnick doesn't start Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest players of all time, in his first game as manager, I think that just says a lot of what he truly thinks of Ronaldo in this stage of his career. So going into this game, I think Manchester United will win, and let's forget about the tactics, because I feel like the tactics won't be that important going into this game. It's a new manager, new bounce, new philosophy. Players are going to want to improve. They're going to want to prove themselves to the manager that they should cement their place in the starting lineup. So off this buzz, off this enthusiasm that the players are going to have going into this game against Crystal Palace, who haven't been in great form, who are suffering from a loss of confidence, I think Ralph Rangnick and the players will get that bounce, and I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to be predicting a 2-0 win. It will be conservative. I'm not going to go for all-out 4-0, 5-0, whitewash or something like that. But I feel like Manchester United will get the job down. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Everton versus Arsenal. And these teams are literally binary opposites. We got one team, Everton, who were literally performing great at the start of the season. Everyone lauding plaudits for people like Damari Gray and Townsend. And obviously they deserved it. But now they've tailored off, they've teetered off, not performing so well recently. And Everton have suffered a lot of injuries, seeing themselves 15th or 16th in the Premier League table. Obviously, not winning a game since September. And then you got Arsenal, who are literally the reverse Uno of Everton, starting the season so poorly in the first 3 games, 0 wins, 0 goals, so many goals conceded, and now you have their but their signings actually performing well, just like Everton did at the beginning of the season. You have Tomiyasu, Ben White coming into the mix, other players as well who have been performing well like the Conga, and now it's starting to look like Arsenal are on some sort of form they can latch onto and build on in terms of their momentum. So let's see how Arsenal are going to line up against Everton. But I feel like this game against Everton is going to be a true test of how Arsenal are doing. This is because we know Rafa Benitez likes to play the low block, a 4-2-3-1, which sometimes converts into a 4-5-1. It doesn't matter if he's at Goodison Park. It doesn't matter if he's at Etihad. He likes his defensive style football and wants to be defensive-minded first, especially since Everton have been suffering so many injuries. I don't think he's going to want to open up the game. So going into this game, Arsenal are going to have to be the enforcer. They're going to have to be the team which is going to have to open up Everton, who are looking to sit back. And this is what Arsenal have struggled with all season or so. Obviously winning games against Watford and Newcastle, etc., relegation favourites. However, it's different versus a team which know how to defend a little bit. Everton with Rafa Benitez, David Moyes. I feel like these teams are the challenges, and let's see if Arsenal actually have the belief, the ambition, the playing style to actually break down decent teams when it comes to the low block. It'll be interesting to see how Smith Rowe and Odegaard adjust to this, because they used to obviously play in more open space where they can create chances and drift in between the pockets and have the license to float around to provide the chances for Aubameyang. Let's see when the space becomes a little bit more tighter, where you're going to have to receive the ball in the half turn when there's going to be an opposition like Decore on you right there. But going into this game defensively, I don't think Arsenal have that much to fear. Obviously, you have Damari Gray and Townsend, who are great on the counter-attack. But if so, even if they do wonders or even if they do perform decently, Arsenal, I can't lie, defensively they look very solid, robust, know how to defend as a unit, especially since you've had like 2 or 3 signings in that back four. It looks like you're gelling well together already. Tomiyasu can deal with the threat of Rondon, even help out White when obviously we know White is not strong and athletic enough to deal with these sort of target men strikers like Lukaku. So Arsenal have been let off the hook. Everton have so many injuries, so Arsenal should be the favourites, and Everton haven't won a game since September. So Arsenal should be winning this game, right? So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory for Arsenal away from home at Goodison Park. So the last game I'm going to be predicting is Watford versus Manchester City, and I can't believe I predicted Watford to actually pick up a point at the King Power Stadium. They got absolutely thrashed 4-2 by Leicester, who have been inconsistent all season. I just thought that game against Manchester United were going to give them the bounce, the confidence, the belief that potentially they can stay up in this league and actually get a point away from home at Leicester, which I just said haven't been great this season. But going on to this game against Manchester City, if you thought the game against Leicester City was hard, you're versing the English champions who just thrashed Everton and they weren't able to even put up a fight. I know snowy conditions at the King Power Stadium, but Leicester still had to play in the same conditions as well. Obviously, Watford do have a puncher's chance against Manchester City. We saw them score 4 goals against Manchester United, 2 goals at the King Power Stadium, and even 5 goals at Goodison Park. And we know Rafa Benitez sides notoriously don't really concede that many goals. So Watford do have a puncher's chance, and they do have the personnel to potentially break on Manchester City and potentially get some joy. However, I'm not going to doubt the English champions Manchester City, who we know are notoriously famous for beating teams in the lower half of the table. They've been absolutely extraordinary against Everton, pinning them back for 90 minutes or so. Everton weren't even able to create chances. The best sort of defense sometimes is offense, and that's what Man City were doing consistently against Everton. And I don't expect this to be any different. conceding 4 goals, defending that badly against Leicester City is one thing. But if you're going to perform like that, Ranieri, who we know at times can be a great defensive coach, you're going to fix things up because Manchester City is fluid football, tiki-taka football. So in this game, I'm going to be predicting an absolute thrashing for Manchester City because, like I said, they have so much joy versus the lowest teams in the Premier League. I'm going for a 4-0 victory for Manchester City.